11 o'clock. Time to get started. Hey, welcome everyone. Hey, that's a real sweet, soft good morning, okay, but I know you mean good morning, right?
Good morning.
Yeah. Golly, sakes alive. Welcome to Woodland Chapel. Salem's the only place to be with a Center for Spiritual Living right here. You know, that's a sweet name, you think. Woodland Chapel. We've had it since the beginning. And now we're a Center for Spiritual Living. What a direction. What an intention for a goal. A Center for Spiritual Living. Whatever that means to you. Is there anyone here for the very first time? Hello, I met you. Yes, there he is. The man in the hat. Well, you're welcome. We're glad you're here. We always say something about whatever spiritual path you may be on or not, you're welcome here. Yeah, you bet. We want you to know that you're always welcome, anyone, to come down after we have the morning service, hang around, get to talking, and enjoy meeting others. Have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, bring your own bottle, whatever you want to do, but just hang around. Okay, our next garden work party, got to tell you about this. This is an important thing because the garden is looking great for those people who showed up and helped out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for that, Art. Yes, okay. The next garden work party is on Saturday, June the 14th. That's a long ways off. 14th? They thought about having one sooner, like this coming Saturday, but I think whoever makes the decision on that says, we'll do it on the 14th. So the 14th, 9:30 to 11:30. Bring gardening tools if you can. We got them, but bring some too. Second Saturday, Community Outreach Crafting Project. Oh, that's a popular project. Time is going to be 11:30 to 3, and that's the second Saturday coming up. So we can have fun brainstorming, doing all kinds of things, joshing each other for what you're doing, and maybe copy somebody's good ideas. Yeah. So if you're looking for details about this summer's events, posters and sign-up sheets in the library for the rummage sale, the barbecue lunch coming up. Oh, doesn't that sound good? Did you know we're going to have an outdoor party or an outdoor service this year? Mm-hmm. Yeah, outdoors. And then we're going to have a barbecue coming up on July the 20th. And that rummage sale that's coming up is in July. It's on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. How's that for 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3 punch. Got childcare. You all know that. We talk about that every Sunday. Now, in front of you in the pews, there is confidential prayer request forms. And we just ask you if you have anything on your mind, on your whatever it may be, you want us to know about it. Fill that out, and as the offering comes around, put it in, or put it in the prayer request box right there in the library, the corner of the library in the hallway there. That will be seen only by a practitioner assigned and a minister. So we'll take care of that for you. Now, this thing here, let's get acquainted. I got one of those sitting in the pew also. If we haven't talked to you or talked to you by phone or sent you an email or gotten in touch in any other way, let us know. We'd like to kind of let you know what's going on around here. We'll make sure you get some things. Fill this out, put this in the plate as it comes around, or later, or in the box that we talked about, the prayer request box. Okay. So we always ask about volunteers. There's room for more volunteers. Just ask Art. He'll tell you there's always room for volunteers, right? Right. So just contact me, contact Reverend, contact Julie, contact any of the people that are on the Woodland Rising program, any practitioner, hunt us down and say, you know what, I'd like to try to help out with this. And we'll say, well, we got some of this and that, and we'll take care of that for you. Yes, ma'am. Oh, okay. For the volunteers thing? I should have mentioned that. It probably said here, right here on this. That, okay. It says there's a volunteer form. Thank you. Okay. I think we always like to sing our hearts out, don't we?
Well, I sure do.
Okay, lead us
like to
on. Let's
sing?
stand up and sing. Let's do our song of the morning.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Do any of you know Raffi by chance? I grew up on Raffi, and this week, as it often happens, this song came into my head. So we're going to sing You Gotta Sing when the Spirit says sing. And there are a few different verses with some words that I might have taken some creative liberties on, but that's okay. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you gotta dance right along. Dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta play when the Spirit says play. You gotta play when the Spirit says play. When the Spirit says play, you gotta play right along. Play when the Spirit says play. You gotta hum when the Spirit says hum. You gotta hum when the Spirit says hum. When the Spirit says hum, you gotta hum right along. Hum when the Spirit says hum. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing. Yeah. Thank you for singing and dancing and playing and humming with me. All right, this is a beautiful song by Libby Roderick. How could anyone ever tell you? How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How probably you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Good morning, friends. Now is a time of morning when we go within to connect with that deepest part of us, not to shut the world out. So let's go. Take a deep breath in and exhale. In this magnificent universe, there is one intelligence, one grand overall design that works for everyone. I am a shining beacon of light sent into the world to experience life and represent the One. I am supported on this journey of service. I know I am guided and directed to be the healing presence of the divine everywhere I go. The journey is about raising consciousness, and it may take different paths. Here at Woodland Chapel, I am in the company of others who are on this ride with me. My journey is to see spirit in myself and others, knowing we are one. Today I live full out. Today I serve the divine by serving others. I am the brilliant presence of spirit, sharing my light with joy and gratitude. I am grateful for my life. I am grateful for today. I give thanks for it all now. Please join me in saying, and so it is. We have a group affirmation in the program. If you'll please join me in saying, in the quiet of this moment, I align myself with divine wisdom to guide my life. In all my affairs, my values are clear, and so it is.
Thank you, Donna. That was beautiful. It's nothing like praying in. It's time for a reading. We like to read out this Guide for Spiritual Living magazine. It's got so much good stuff in it. If you've not looked at this or read this, you're missing something. You're missing something. I'm going to read today about balance and harmony and love. It's a guide. It starts out with Khalil Gibran. Some of you say joy is greater than sorrow, and others say, nay, nay, sorrow is the greater. But I say unto you, they are inseparable. Together they come, and when one sits alone with you at your board, remember that the other is asleep upon your bed. In Ernest Holmes, harmony is the natural state of consciousness when all the conflicting elements within are brought into balance. That's Ernest Holmes. And in the body of the guide for the day, it says the yin and the yang symbol, which originated in ancient Chinese philosophy, is a circle divided by a curved line with one half black and the other side white, with each of them containing a small piece of the other. And it represents duality, balance, and harmony. Joy and sorrow are interconnected. I believe that. Although it may seem counterintuitive, one does not exist without the other. If we try to avoid or deny our sorrow, we may end up blocking out joy. Not allowing new people into our lives because we're afraid of getting hurt, for example, could cause us to miss out on love. Yeah. In fact, one of the reasons we grieve is because of the loss of someone or something we deeply loved. As human beings, we are capable of multiple complex feelings, sometimes feeling both joy and sorrow in the span of a single day. For instance, we may have a close family member who is gravely ill or who has passed, and at the same time, we may have had a family member who has just given birth to a baby. We celebrate at holiday gatherings and we mourn for loved ones who are not with us for those same celebrations. It's important to hold space for all of our emotions, allowing ourselves to feel sadness as well as happiness. The tricky part is staying in balance, recognizing that our human existence contains beautiful moments, even in the midst of sorrow. As Meister Eckhart said, love is the root of all joy and sorrow. Ultimately, love is what brings the diverse elements of our lives into balance and wholeness. And they capped us with an affirmation that simply says, harmony is my natural state. I embrace life with love, even during times of sorrow. And so it is.
This is a song called Happiness Starts Within by me. Happiness starts within. My thoughts will lead the way. From there I can begin to change the way I view my day. I can find the joy in unexpected things, though I'll still feel pain. I let go of the chains. Happiness starts within. Oh, I feel it in my body, unfurling as I grow into the light I want to be. I will still feel the joy in unexpected things, and I'll still feel pain, but let go of the chains they hold, 'cause happiness starts within. Oh, our thoughts will lead the way. From there we can begin to change the way we view our days. We can find the joy in every little thing, and we'll still feel pain, but let go of the chains it holds, 'cause happiness, oh, it starts within. Ooh, it's a sense of peace, a sense of ease. Starts within. Thank you.
Thank you, Ari. Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she just yeah, your words are so uplifting. Thank you, Ari, and being here with us. And I just noticed in our bulletin, as next month's topics, enchantment. I love that word. I'm really looking forward to that. So hope you guys are here for the whole thing. Really, really good to see you here on Memorial Day, that you chose to be here when you could be anywhere, fighting the traffic and the crowds. Wise choice. Anyway, it's good to see you. And Memorial Day, the day we just honor those who have given their lives for this country. I think this may be our most significant holiday, where we do honor those who stepped up and gave their very lives that we are free here together. And also for those who fight the fires and rescue others in difficult times and do that work that keeps us all safe. And when I was growing up, we actually called it Decoration Day. Did anyone here ever call this Decoration Day? Yeah. Yeah, I came from a very old rural community. But we would go to the cemetery every Decoration Day, every Memorial Day, and take flowers to the graves. And Paul and I often do that. We're not doing that this year, obviously. But I think it's really important to honor those who've gone before us, their stories, however they were. We're all part of this great humanity. And many of my friends now are cremated. So I have no place to go. And I love cemeteries, by the way. I spent a lot of time in cemeteries because every word, every person there, I just think, what a story. What is your story? What is your story? And really honor that person. But so for those folks, I have my heart and my memories and pictures. I keep a lot of pictures of people. And I believe that we all continue to exist. Wordsworth said this is but a birth and a forgetting, and then when we die, it's a birth into another realm. He's a poet, and he said it really nice, but you get the idea. And I believe also that because there is a continued existence in all those who have lived, those that we have loved that continue to exist, I think they hear us and they know us, and our thoughts are communicative. I really believe that. So, blessed Memorial Day. And so, on to our message here. And I've been pondering a conversation I heard last week. It made me think all week about it. And this is not a direct quote, but essentially it was questioning why we talk so much here about principles and the qualities of the divine, empowering our own lives and making our lives better, bringing joy into our lives, and not focus a lot on service and going out into the world and doing the works. And changing the world and working to change other lives. And so while we encourage service, and I think every one of us here, and I grew up in a family where every kind of service was embraced, and it was just service was part of life. And so that's important. And I think we all do that here in one way or another. But the thing is, to the degree that we are healthy, it's the degree that our service will be of a quality of service that really makes a difference. I think that's true. So it begins with us. It begins with us. Focusing on us living the best life possible so that when we do go out, we have something to give that is healthy. And because consciousness is cause. Consciousness is cause. For better or worse, we each have come into, for whatever reason after we were born, circumstances, and we don't always function at our highest level, do we? We do not always function at our higher level. And our life is our main responsibility. Because, and here is the truth, to the degree, and this is true, to the degree that we are healthy and we have something within us, is the degree, I will say that again, that when we go out in service, it can make a big difference. And so our life being our main responsibility, that is not a selfish thing. I was thinking like the airlines, every time you take a flight, remember the stewardess or the steward or what, I don't know what they're called now. Flight attendant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Flight attendant, okay. So they always say, in case of emergency, the oxygen thing will drop down. If you have small children, be sure to put yours on first. You know, our tendency might be to help the child. But how can we help someone else breathe if we can't breathe? You get it? But then I always think, this is totally an aside, not part of the talk, and forgive me if I digress and it doesn't make any sense. But I always think, if that oxygen mask is going to drop down, I'm not sure we're going to... it's going to do any good. But anyway, I hate to, okay. That's what I always think. But you get the point, that when that oxygen mask drops down, put it on yourself first before you help another person. And I think that's the main reason that we talk about our own personal growth, so much here. It's that oxygen masks on ourselves. And so, you know, I have a story, and I was thinking about this little girl. When our kids were in grade school, we used to volunteer. And I help in the classroom. And a lot of the mothers did that. And I remember this one little girl, and when I think about it, it's so painful for me, I almost cry. She had such trauma in her life, and then their house burned down, and she was abused. And she's in the class, maybe third grade, and you know, they're reading at third grade. And this is a school where most of the kids are reading really well and doing well. And so we moms who were volunteering, it was up to us to take her out of the classroom and help with her and try to help her to learn how to read. And I remember she just would not do it. She would not do anything. And I was stymied, as I'm probably sure other mothers were. I didn't know what to do. And I think, oh my God, did we do more harm and good? I think of that little girl a lot because we didn't know what to do. Did we do more harm than good? I think about that. I'm sure I did. And it makes me very, very sad. You know, nowadays the schools have counselors and they have special help for all sorts of kids. But they didn't then. And so, to me, this idea of me getting more healthy when I step out, me having more wisdom, me having more love, me not thinking I know what to do, and listening and learning is really important. And I think that's precisely why we focus on this here at Centers for Spiritual Living, Science of Mind, Religious Science. And so how can we grow in acceptance of our own good and become a force for good in the world? Emmett Fox put it this way: it is very important to understand the importance of our consciousness in spiritual growth. Divine ideas must be incorporated into our consciousness before they can mean anything to us. An intellectual concept does not suffice. And I love ideas. I bet a lot of you guys love ideas and have lots of books. Is there anyone here who doesn't have lots of books? And, you know, just, oh my God, it's so fun to get these ideas. And after many of years of seeking the truth, here and there and everywhere, and I come into Science of Mind, a religious science church, which is now Centers for Spiritual Living, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. I resonate. I finally found it. And we know that the truth shall set us free, and I have found the truth. And it's very exciting. I bet a lot of you felt that same way. So, and I affirm, and I pray, and I do my affirmations, and it's a wonderful idea. But why is it not always working? Prayer works. We stand here every week and tell you prayer works. And I guarantee you it works. But why does it not always work? And I've thought a lot about this over the years, and it's like, I believe this stuff. I totally believe it. But have I embodied it? Have I embodied it? And sometimes we look at the universe, God, infinite, whatever you want to call it, as a big machine that if we put a prayer in, we're going to get something out. Kind of like the candy machines, you know, you put a couple bucks in, you get a Snicker bar. And guess what? It does work. Our prayers work. Except that sometimes they work really well, and then we wish they hadn't. And then we got to pray them out for a new prayer. Until we really embody what the truth is. So, on that note, let's take a look at finances. That's always fun, isn't it? I remember hearing all sorts of things, and in the early days of our teaching, and maybe it was just where my mind gravitated, because I know there were mystical teachers, but I guess this is where my mind must go. And they just challenge the universe, make a demand on the universe. Go buy a car and watch the universe pay for it. You know, have you ever stumbled across that kind of teaching? You know, make a demand on the universe. You deserve it and you should have it. And therefore, you know, you get a credit card and you got it, all this stuff. And then you got to get another credit card because that credit card's maxed out. But we've got all this stuff. And I remember at one time it was important to look good. Ministers had to look really good. Really, truly, that was early teaching way back. It was when I was in seminary. You had to look really good. I mean, more focus was spent on what we wore on Sunday than what we said, I think. And you were supposed to drive a really nice car, or else you weren't proving prosperity. And you couldn't get a cold, or else you didn't believe. You know what I'm talking about? And, okay, so I do believe that the universe is an abundant, and it is here for us, and we are meant to have joy, and we are not meant to suffer. Ernest Holmes said that, and I really do believe that. But why don't we do this? Because we don't really embody it. Things are not wealth, you guys. I had a client and a member of my church one time. Oh my God, he was so charming. And he was just delightful and just exuberant and interested in everything. And so one time he was counseling with me, and he said, I'd really like to have a house and a family, and I don't know, he was about 30. And I said, well, and he had a good job. And I said, well, okay, that's really possible. Let's look at your budget. And so, of course, I'm really into this, and we got all of his finances and stuff, and I laid out this beautiful budget. It was color-coded and everything. And we talked about it, and he's like, wow, that would work. And I said, if we follow this plan, and you pay off these, you can pay off your debts, and then you can move into your dream. It is possible. And he was so into this for a month. And then he came and he said, oh my God, my brother's found this trip to South America. And it's a bargain, because this is, guys, as a trip to South America, it really was a bargain. But it wasn't in his plan. But he had to do it. And so there went the plan. Also went to Africa to learn how to do drumming. He was kind of an amazing individual. But there went the plan. And God knows, I've had those temptations, and my husband will tell you I've gone with him sometimes. Because, boy, that shiny thing over there is so cool, and I just have to have it. But because he had not embodied this whole idea of true abundance. And honestly, I don't know where he is now, but probably in Timbuktu. So I ask us to look at what destructive patterns do we have, and not to be judgmental, because they come from somewhere, sometimes our personality type, but that are preventing us from embodying the truth that we know, the truth that we actually believe. So I have rules around things that are bigger than the normal expenses. And these are my rules. They don't take them as your rules. Have your own rules. But these are what work for me. If it's really big and beyond what is the norm, I ask myself, is it a good thing? Is it the right thing? Is it for something bigger than myself? Something other than myself? And I'm in partnership, so I'm only speaking for myself. But when Paul and I make big leaps, it's got to be together, the power of together rather than pulling apart, because you know where that goes. And if I'm not really sure about this, if it is just bigger than my conception, and I have a pretty big conception of making things happen. But if it's bigger than my conception, bigger than I can get my mind about, I ask, because there is this power and presence, you guys, we talk about it all the time. And it is there. And not only that power and presence, well, I pull in everybody that's passed on, willing to help. But I've told you guys my burning bush stories, haven't I? And do you want to hear it again? No. You can be honest, like, oh my God, not that story again. But my burning bush thing, and I don't, like I said, I don't do it too often, but Paul and I had 2 kids in private colleges, and which was more than we could actually reasonably expected to have afforded, but it worked. And then our youngest daughter needed something more than public school, really needed something more than public school. So I looked all over. And I found this boarding school that I thought was perfect, but cost absolutely as much as the colleges. Only you couldn't get loans, and you couldn't take out parent loans, and you couldn't, all that stuff. So it was pretty big. Okay, so I had looked, and this seemed to be just the right thing. But this is so big, guys. I mean, so big. And so Paul and I are driving home from church. And we stop at the library. And I'm thinking, God, what decision should we make? Because we had to make a decision. And what decision shall we make? I don't know. This is way beyond our pocketbook. And so I said, God, this is the right thing. And I couldn't just ask for intuition, because, I might make up my own. But it had to be something really big. And I said, okay, God, if we're to take this on and to do this, I need to see a burning bush. And that was pretty risky, because they aren't just like everywhere. And swear to God, we're walking in the library, and I turn around and I look at the shelf, and there is a book titled The Burning Bush. And you can imagine how I felt. And it was just, thank you, God. And Paul's like, oh my God, I don't know about all your beliefs. But it was a sign that I'd asked for it immediately. You probably have your own burning bush. That was risky, because I was likely not to see a burning bush. And so we did leap into it. And it worked out, and I have no idea how. I have no idea how. But I'm not saying you should do things my way, but that's what works for me. And when I know, and I know that I know, see, in that moment I had embodied that truth, and I knew the way would open and just take the next step, and confidence in not looking back. But if I haven't embodied it, I'm going to second guess myself. I'm going to look back. I'm going to how to do this. Ernest Holmes said, I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination, which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the forces of nature in its grasp. And they said, we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer. A power that can overcome any obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light and a new life. Now, I have a second part of this, and it's about love. Love and money, they go together. Motives for a lot of things. We don't have time to talk about that today. But I think it's an important thing for us to look at. Because when we talk about embodying the truth so that our life begins to work in a different way, it sets us free. So I want to look at the deeper level of freedom in the second part of this. And it will probably be when I speak in June. And by then you will have forgotten this one. So we'll have to remind you. But in embodying these truths that we believe in, we are set free. And then what we do in the world out there, we do not need to change people. We can set them free with our love and truly be of help. So we'll look at the second part in June. So namaste.
All right. The much-awaited song. Catherine's been waiting for this for a while. This is I Am Light by India Ari. Voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. Please sing with me if you're called. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light, I am light. I am not the pieces men have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. the skin on the outside. I am not my age, I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. I am 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 divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
All right, this is our special time. Now that you are light, you know what it's like to be a light. A light is somebody that lights up life with every part of what they do. And part of what you're doing right now is showing your heart, your love for this place that we call our spiritual home. And you take a deep breath and say, this is what I offer. And it's enough. It's enough. So together, let us say our offertory affirmation in the bulletin. Together, let us say, divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
I am grateful. I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful. I am grateful for the abundance in my life. I am grateful. I am grateful for the abundance in my life.
Oh, we are told that a thankful heart is a receiving heart. And I'm so grateful that you've decided to come to this place to be a part of it and bring your heart and bring what you've decided to give today. This goes to good work, spiritual work, all work that needs to be done in a spiritual manner. So thank you again. And I take a deep breath, and I just simply say, and so it is. So we like to say our special blessing. It's an affirmation that we all know by heart, and it starts out with the light of God, right? So
The light of God surrounds us.
yes, so let's stand and do that. The
Light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
sing our wonderful.
I'm going to grab Buddha's song.
Great, please do. Thank you.
Possibly have a copy of your prayer today? I would love that. Words and things. That's okay. Right next to me, I could ask you. I was thinking that. Please.
each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me.
Are you here next week? Or how can I get that?
Oh, I'll give it to you today.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Thank you.